Hi, my name's Penny, and as usual, I'm here to talk about some bookish things specifically. Today, I wanted to take the opportunity to talk to you about some of the new releases that are coming out in October, and also some books that aren't new, but they're new to me because I've newly discovered them, and I am excited to read them at some point in the future. Probably not straight away because I already have a massive list of books to read, but maybe if I do talk about any that you are excited about, you can let me know and I will try to read them sooner. So firstly, there are a couple of graphic novels that I am excited about that are coming out on the 1st of October. Firstly, we have Paper Girls number 6. I actually believe this is going to be the last volume in this series. Paper Girls is a story that starts in the 80s following a group of paper delivery girls, but they end up getting involved in this big time travel war and traveling across time and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I don't think I figured out what was going on at all until like volume 5, and I don't know if I remember at this point, so maybe I need to pick up the first volumes again before I read volume 6, but I am excited to see how the series will all wrap up in the end. We also have the 4th volume of Monstrous coming out. So this is by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. This is another series where I think I need to go back and start from the start again. But I am excited to read this series. I love the art of this series and I love the world with the magical cats with multiple tails. Also, the main character has this demon attached to her and I just love how dark and creepy he is. I don't always understand what's going on, but honestly, it doesn't matter. I love it anyway. Then there are a bunch of books coming out on the 8th of October. I guess it's another magical publishing day. So firstly, we have Into the Crooked Place by Alexandra Christo. So Alexandra Christo was the author of To Kill a Kingdom, which was a siren-based fantasy Little Mermaid retelling that came out a few years ago now. And this is going to be the beginning of her new series. I think it's just a duology, and it's all about 4 very different people coming together to save their town from dark magic. We also have Sharpest Sting by Jennifer Estep. So this is the 18th book in the Elemental Assassin series. This is a series that I buy for my mum every birthday and Christmas. However, there wasn't one for her birthday just gone, so that's kind of disappointing. I do have this one already pre-ordered, ready for her to have for Christmas. I just really love this series. It's set in this quite unique paranormal world where people have different elemental powers. Our main character is a woman named Jin, who is also an assassin codenamed the Spider. In some ways, this series is quite formulaic. Every time there's a new enemy for her to fight, and she struggles and eventually overcomes them. But somehow, despite being so formulaic, I never find the series boring. There is always some bigger plot thread that is slowly revealing itself, and they're just action-packed and fun, and I really enjoy them. So I will probably, once this arrives, be reading it before I give it to my mum, which I consider as part of the present because then she doesn't need to worry about lending it to me because I've already done that for her. Isn't that nice of me? So next we have How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse by Kay Eason. So really this book just had me from the title having multiverse in it. I love multiverse stuff and time travel type stuff, so I'm super excited about that. Also, this seems to be some kind of fantastical time travel Sleeping Beauty retelling. Sleeping Beauty is my favorite Disney princess. Tangled might be my favorite movie, but Sleeping Beauty is my favorite princess. I want to be Sleeping Beauty. I love Prince Philip when he fights the dragon. It's just, she's the best, and so Sleeping Beauty retelling is exactly what I want. And if it has time travel or multiverse elements in it, I am totally there for it. Next we have The Furies by Katie Lowe. So I believe this is some kind of teenage schoolgirl story where they get involved in the occult. Really, the main thing that's making me interested in this book is that Becca in all the books found an arc of this in a local thrift shop, and she really loved this book. So that has made me really interested in this story, and I really hope to pick it up at some point. The next new release is also one that's involved in the occult. In this case, I believe it's set in more of a university setting, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm a little bit conflicted about whether I really want to read this or not. I haven't read anything by Leigh Bardugo yet, and I just know this book has been super hyped, but also getting quite mixed reviews. I'm not sure whether the mixed reviews I've seen are things that I worry about or not. I worry about it just being overhyped, but it does have a beautiful cover, and I do find the occult quite interesting, so maybe at some point I'll have to fit it into my TBR, although I know this one is quite a long one, so it might take me a little while to get to it. Maybe I'll see what the reviews are like after it's come out. Then the last book that's coming out on the 8th of October is Horror Stories by Liz Phair. So Liz Phair is this indie artist that I was a really big fan of. I think she was mainly popular around the 90s, maybe the early 2000s as well. And Horror Stories is going to be her memoir, I think primarily focused on some of the difficult situations she found herself in being a woman in the music industry. I don't have complete confidence that this will be a masterfully written book, but since I have an interest in Liz Phair, I think that I will get something out of it regardless of how well it's written, or at least I hope so. Then on the 16th of October, we have the next bind up of the Shades of Magic graphic novel comic series by Victoria Schwab coming out. I have somewhere here the first volume, The Steel Prince. Knight of Knives is going to continue the story. I hope that it's going to be even better than the first volume. So the first volume wrapped up, I think, the first 4 editions of the comics, and then the second volume is going to be wrapping up 5, 6, 7, 8. So this story follows the king, or the father of Rye and Cal, from the Darker Shades of Magic series, but it's the story of the king when he was younger and a somewhat rebellious prince earning his reputation. I did have some problems with the first volume, and I'm not sure whether those are going to have been addressed, but I just love learning more about the world and the characters anyway, so I'm sure that I'll love some parts of it at least. Then on October 29th, we have another graphic novel coming out, and that is Ascender by Jeff Lemire. So Ascender is going to be like a companion series or a spin-off series from the Descender graphic novel series. I've just recently finished the 5th volume of the Descender series, and I just have the 6th one left to go, and I've been absolutely loving that series, so I'm excited that the story is going to be continued in some way. Okay, so those are all the new releases. Now I want to talk to you about new discoveries. So primarily I'm going to take you through the books that I have recently put a hold on at the library, and also books that I have recently added to my Goodreads want to read list. So firstly, I have put a hold on Frostheart by Jamie Littler. So this is a middle grade book. I don't know much about it other than it is a fantasy, and it's also going to be the group book for the Believeathon readathon that Gavin is putting on. So I will leave the links to that readathon down below, but it just looks like an adorable book. I'm excited to read some middle grade books for that readathon in November, so I put a hold on that book in preparation. Also, I know that Gavin is saying you can read the group book early because he doesn't want people to have to wait. So if it happens to come through from the library early and I happen to have time, I can read it early. And the only other book that I have put a hold on is Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff. So I have Nevernight on my October TBR, and there is a massive hold for Dark Dawn. I'm 21 in the queue. So I figured I'd just get myself on that whole queue, even though I still need to read Nevernight and God's Grave. But hopefully by the time I've read those, my hold will come through and everything will somehow magically work out. Okay, so I'm just looking at all the books I've recently added to Goodreads, and honestly, what was I thinking? There are so many. I'm never going to get through all these books. Like, I want to read all of them, but how will I ever find the time? I don't know. Tell me if you think any of these books are great, because I really am going to need to prioritize this list. So the first book I've added is Erased Volume 1. So this is a manga that Alyssa read recently, and she recommended it. I believe what happens is this guy who's like 29 somehow gains the ability to time travel, and he starts trying to figure out how to change things to prevent something bad that happened in his childhood. As you know, I love time travel, and since Alyssa said it was good, it went on my Goodreads list straight away. Then also in September, I read Bird Box by Josh Malerman, and I really enjoyed it. And next year, there is going to be a sequel released called Mallory, which is the name of the main character. In Bird Box, there is something, and whenever people see this creepy something, they go crazy, they start attacking people, and they kill themselves in very violent ways. So now everyone is hiding in their houses and covering up their eyes, and we're following this woman Mallory as she tries to get these 2 children with her to safety. But it's also told through multiple timelines, so there's another timeline where you find out how she got to where she is. I believe this is going to be a sequel, and so I'm hoping to find out more concrete facts about what the hell was going on in Bird Box, because it's hinted, but I want to know more. That's how I felt when I finished the Bird Box, and so I was really excited to discover that there's a sequel. I did also add The Demon World by Sally Green to my TBR, but this is the second book in the Smoke Thieves series, and I still haven't read the first book in the Smoke Thieves series, so I don't know why I'm putting another book on my Goodreads list when I can't even read it. I'm annoyed at myself. Also, I don't know much about the series, but I did really like Sally Green's other series, the Half Bad series, so I'm hoping that I'll like this series too when I eventually get to it. We also have The Mage Fire War, which is the 21st book in the Saga of Recluse series. This is a series that I started reading about 50 million years ago, and I think last year I made a real concerted effort to listen to all the audiobooks and catch myself up on the series. Each one of the books is like a 20-something hour audiobook. I used to have the physical books here, but I think I finally got rid of them. Just they were taking up so much space. I didn't have all of them, but I had enough. I definitely don't want 21 books in this series taking up my shelf space. I do like this series. I like a lot of the ideas in this series. The magic is all based around order versus chaos, but it's more about the balance between those 2 forces rather than one being good and one being bad. I really enjoy the detail in the stories. Sometimes there is so much detail that it can be quite hard to get through, so I definitely prefer this series in audiobook. Now the 21st book has been released, so I will be listening to that once my library gets it. Then we also have An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. So recently, both Becca in the Books and Gemma from A Story and a Song said that they really liked this series, and I'm hoping I'm going to like it too. It touts itself as a fantasy thriller. It's set in New York, and it's about some kind of dark secret that's restricting these magicians' powers. To be honest, I'm hoping that this series will turn out to be everything that I was hoping The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell will be. This is an adult series. I'm hoping it means that it's going to be a lot darker and more detailed than The Last Magician was, but we'll see. It does have good reviews, so fingers crossed. Then I also have The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker. So this is a story all about people who just start falling asleep, and their brain activity shows that they seem to be having some really intense dreams. I love dreams, and also this book comes highly recommended by Books and Lala, as well as Rachel Marie from Rachel Marie's Book Journey. So I'm hoping that I will really like it too. Then Emma from Drinking by My Shelf was talking about this book called Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which sounds really weird. Something about a cafe, and when you sit at your table you can travel through time, but you have to get back before the coffee gets cold. I don't know, but again, I love time travel. That sounds really weird, so I'm really interested to pick it up. Then I also have Mob Psycho 100. So this is a manga series that was recommended to me when I did my 1,000 pages of manga video a little while back, reviewing a bunch of different manga series, and I asked for recommendations for other good manga series to try. This is one that got recommended. I don't remember anything about what it's about, and the Goodreads page, the synopsis is all in Japanese, and I've been trying to learn Japanese on Duolingo, but despite having been learning Japanese for half a year, I really can't say much at all yet or even pronounce things properly, so I've got a long way to go before I could tell you what this is about from that, but I do at least recognize some of the characters, so I'm making some progress. Anyway, apparently it's a good manga series, so I'm going to pick it up at some point. I also have another graphic novel series on here. I think it's just 2 books, and it was recommended by Tia in all the books. So this is Alex and Ada. I believe this is some kind of science fiction romance between a human and a cyborg or a robot or something. I don't know. I trust Tia's opinion, so it sounded fun, and it's also a very short graphic novel series, so you can't really go wrong with short graphic novel series. Even if you hate them, they'll be over really quickly, so why not? Then I also have a few books here from Daphne du Maurier. So I recently, I think it was a few months ago, I read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I did just listen to the audiobook, and I think I'll try to get audiobooks for the rest of these as well, because I much prefer classics when they're in audiobook form, but I have put The Breakthrough, My Cousin Rachel, and The Birds by Daphne du Maurier onto this list. They're all ones I'm interested in, and Charlie Brooke recently read The Breakthrough and she really liked it, and I think she also read The Birds and said that it was quite good, so I want to read some more Daphne du Maurier. I just need to remember to track down the audiobooks at some point. Then we also have The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. So I have to admit, I mostly paid attention to this book because I think the cover is really beautiful, and I guess I just also like crow imagery and kind of the dark appearance of the book. I don't really know if it will live up to what I consider dark since it is a YA fantasy, but Jade from Jaded Reader really liked it, and so I'm hoping that I will really like it when I get to it as well. Honestly, this is how I end up with so many books that I want to read, is that I'm just so easily convinced that I should read a book. Anyway, we only have one more book that I've added to my Goodreads list. Finally, we're at the end, and that is Blackbird, which is by Sam Humphries and Jen Bartel. So Jen Bartel is an artist that I really love her work. I saw that she was doing this comic series a while back, and I wasn't sure whether it would be good. Just because you like someone's art doesn't mean that they can write a good story. However, Jade from Jaded Reader again said that it had a really good story, although sometimes the dialogue is not so good. So I figured if the story is good, I can overlook some crappy dialogue. The art will be beautiful, I'm sure, so at least I can have a chance to look at the beautiful art. Anyway, I shared a lot of books with you today, books that are coming out soon and books that I have just recently discovered or recently been convinced that I should read them. Do let me know if you've read any of those books. I haven't read any of them yet, but I would like to know whether you think they're going to be worth the read or whether I can save my Goodreads list and make it a bit easier by taking them off. I'd love to know if you're planning to read any of these books that I've talked about today anytime soon. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.